step I take, I move my truth. Every time they tell me stop, I use. Every comment, hate that makes my feel. Gather up my energy and boom. I hear them talking, saying the way that I move is so reckless. That is a part of my mind I've been blessed with. Giving my blood, so I am relentless.
Okay, this is the Keep Hammering Collective with James Gideon Williams. This is not Shit Talkers 12.
No, we're on our best behavior.
No, by the book.
Yeah.
This is serious. No talking about, body hair on women below the eyebrows at all.
No.
There should be none below the eyebrows. I mean, I guess the back of the hair is a little bit, okay. So maybe from the neck down. No.
Yeah. Nose down.
Okay. No. Scratch that part. I don't know. I mean, you can leave that in, but today, kind of a serious topic, actually. As serious as I get, really. This is about wounding. And I said last week or this week or whatever week that I was going to talk about wounding because it's a thing. I don't have the stats on it. I did talk to, the biologist at Wild Country Outfitters or Adventures. And like the wounding differences between their bow hunters and their rifle hunters. And I believe he said it's kind of about the same. So hunting is not perfect. Killing is not perfect. Killing a wild animal with an arrow or even a bullet is not an execution. It is hunting. And there are variables that weigh in, and these animals are very tough, and they can withstand a lot and survive. And so I want to talk about it.
That the wounding kind of being similar is, I think, surprising because everyone always says.
Yeah, bow hunters, they get the bad rap for wounding for sure. And I brought up, I'm a little, I don't rifle hunt, but I know the long range shooting is a thing now. And the guns can do it. But just because the guns can do it does not mean the shooter can do it.
Well, it's just like a bow.
Just like a bow. I mean, doesn't mean everybody should be shooting 100 yards with a bow. I don't think anybody should be. And same thing with rifles. So, I know last year we set up that SIG with Katie, and I shot at 900 and rang the steel. And it's like, yeah, you can do that.
Yeah.
That was steel, not moving. I had a rest in a shooting house. It's like, that's absolutely perfect conditions. Or actually, it was a little windy and there was a flag up there, so I had to adjust for the wind, hold on the edge of the steel. But point is, that does not mean that I should shoot 900 yards at an animal. And so when you say that, well, wounding with the bow and with the rifle, they're similar. I think the long range thing, I asked him, I said, is this making it worse? Because the firearms can do it, the bullets can do it, theoretically you can do it. People show it all the time. There's these shooting contests. And he said it hasn't like showed itself as far as being that they're wounding more because, and I think there it's pretty controlled. They're not going to say, hey, 700 yards, take it.
Right.
That's not public land. This is on public land when you got a guy who has been busting his ass for a week in the snow and finally sees one bull and it's at 600 yards. Some people, because of those challenges, are going to shoot.
Yeah.
And they might not hit perfect.
Yeah. I mean, 500 yards now is like, nobody even scoffs at it, but
I know it's so far, dude.
Yeah. That is a poke.
So far. I know I had Katie last year. I can't remember. Did you filmed her, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How far was that first where I had her laying down? Was it 400?
Yeah.
Or like 425?
Yep. 425.
And obviously it's the same gun Tanner has right now. And so we know, and I'm not going to spoil his story, but we know the gun can shoot. I think that might be the gun that I shot 900 yards with. But point is, I wasn't going to have Katie shoot at 425. So we circled around, got the wind right, and got like 80 or 100, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And she smoked that buck and dropped it in his tracks. So yeah, the guns can do it. The bows can shoot, say 100. That does not mean everybody should be doing that. I don't think hardly with a bow for sure, hardly anybody maybe Levi Morgan, and under perfect situation could get a kill at 100 yards with an arrow. I'm not going to do it, but I don't make the rules for everybody. I just want to talk in like pretty candidly about wounding. So we know that it happens. We know that that's part of hunting. How do we mitigate that as hunters? What is the approach? My approach, and growing up on public land, nobody really talked about wounding. You didn't want to wound. I don't even know what the laws are on it. I know you probably shouldn't go out and be wounding, 4 or 5 animals, having them laying out there dead.
Yeah.
So, a big part of archery and even rifle hunting is we police ourselves. There's game wardens, but way more hunters than game wardens, and they can't be everywhere. And we're in the middle of, the mountains, and there's no audience, as we've talked about. There's no crowd. It's just you. And part of being a hunter is you have a responsibility to offer the animal a merciful and compassionate death.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I remember in hunter safety, like the huge section on ethics is like, it might not be illegal, but is it ethical?
Is it right?
Yeah.
Right or wrong.
Right.
And a law can't cover that. It's so there's ethics. There's big ethics. For me personally, how it is now, and I've evolved, as I've said before, when I first started, I didn't even care really wouldn't even think about that I was killing an animal or what it meant or the gravity of the situation. I was a kid and I'm just like, hey, yeah, I'm going to go try to kill a buck. Shoot a buck.
Right.
Cool. Take a couple pictures. That's it. I don't even know what it meant. It meant that I was a hunter. And so I had, I was trying to earn my stripes or whatever you do as a hunter, kind of grow, mature, and you learn and you gain perspective. And over the years now, so I killed my first buck when I was 15, and now I'm 58. So
Carry the one.
Yeah, remainder. Yeah, whatever.
43.
Long time. Okay, I've been hunting a long time. And I've changed over 43 years, as I hope most people would. And now it's all I care about is a merciful death and not screwing up. I don't want the animal to suffer. I don't want to make a mistake. I don't want to make a poor shot. And still, I'm human. Nobody is perfect.
Yep.
As I've said, you can be perfect on the target range. People are doing it all the time. 300 scores, 60 X's, that paper's not moving, whatever. You can be a machine. In hunting, it's never going to be that way. And, I've shared on this podcast before too. I had a 2.5 or 3 year stretch where I shot 9 arrows and killed 9 bulls. And at that time, I was a little bit overconfident. I thought I got this. I got this figured out. No, I didn't. I didn't have it figured out, and I don't have it figured out. I'll just be honest, I have lost animals. And to me, there's a big difference in wounding an animal that's a fatal wound and a superficial wound. And how I navigate that now is if I shoot an arrow and I believe based on where the arrow hit, how the animal reacts, and the blood on the ground, if that animal is going to die, I'm done. That's my animal, whether I get it or not.
Right.
I'm not killing multiple animals during the same season in the same state with the same tag. I'm going to kill one. It's up to me to recover that animal, to make a good shot, to put that animal down quickly. And if I don't, if the animal is wounded and regardless of, what I think, but if the blood is telling me that I think the animal's going to die and it's a fatal wound, or maybe there's gut material on the arrow, or mostly it'd be guts that you don't find. It's guts or liver. Those are the top. Those are the ones that I think are going to die, and you might not get them. If you don't do everything right, you might not get them. An ass shot, usually, if you're going to kill it if you hit it in the ass, if you're way off and it's a poor shot, I'm not even going to talk about the Texas heart shot, who's basically shooting up its ass, which I can't stand that. I can't stand when people show it, talk about it, whatever, because I don't think it's ethical. I think you're shooting at something. You got to get up that pelvis, basically up the ass, through the hole in the pelvis into its guts, liver, lungs. And if you're not perfect, it's just drilling the pelvis and no penetration. So that said, you can hit in that hole there and get the full penetration to the guts and the liver and lungs, or you can get lucky and catch a femoral artery, which runs, basically it's down the spine, splits down the inside of the leg, the back legs. And we have a femoral artery too. If you cut that thing, you are dead in about 30 seconds. So if you get lucky and you hit that on an animal, the animal's there's gonna be like a gallon of blood on the ground and it's gonna die quick. But chances of hitting a femoral artery, which is about the size of my pinky, is not great because it's on the inside also. It's on the inside of that leg. Terrible shot, not where you want to hit. And if you get that animal, you got lucky. Normally the arrow would be stuck in its ass and you're not getting it. Could the animal survive that? Yes. They are very, very resilient. Arrows are recovered, or animals are killed with old arrow wounds in them or pieces of arrow all the time. They're not us.
Yeah.
If I have an arrow in my back, I'm not running around. I'm being hurt. A bull, you can, I'll just say last year, I shot a bull in Oregon. I hit it quartering away, hit it high, and that arrow, I think, rode up the rib, and about this much of it was in that bull. The arrow came out, broke off, and I looked for that bull for 3 days and could not. I mean, it went uphill. It was, I had determined this bull's not going to die. So I went to, I can't remember. I think I went to Utah. Then I came back, and I actually 2 weeks later killed that bull, and that piece of arrow was in it, and there wasn't even a wound on the hide on the outside. It was like I couldn't even tell that the arrow had hit. So the point is, like, these arrows are so clean and so precise. It's like a scalpel cut that can heal. That can definitely heal. And this is not going to get infected for the most part. I mean, their immune system is crazy. They're so resilient. But an arrow is not like a bullet. And I kind of mentioned this on a previous podcast, but a bullet kills by damage and shock. And so it's breaking muscle, bone, ripping up muscle, breaking bone, shocking that animal. It is really hard for an animal to recover from a rifle wound. It's just an open wound that has a hard time healing. An animal can very easily recover from an arrow wound. Yeah. And that's just I'm not trying to be, because I'm a lifelong bow hunter, I'm trying to be unbiased. I'm just going by what I know, what I see, what I hear, what I've researched. Animals recover from arrow wounds all the time, not so much from rifle wounds. That said, they can recover from a rifle wound that's not like in the vitals or not, I've seen, legs get blown off. They're not it's going to be tough to recover from that. An arrow is not going to blow a leg off. Yep. It's going to go in, it's going to cut. An arrow kills by hemorrhage. How we kill is we get into the vitals, hemorrhage, hopefully in the lungs or the heart, and the animal dies very quickly. With a rifle, you kind of go the same thing, but with a rifle, instead of behind the shoulder like you would with an arrow, so you get that penetration into the chest, you might go right through the shoulder because a bullet has so much more energy and damage potential and power and speed. It's 3,000 foot a second compared to 300 feet a second. So that bullet can break down even a bull through the shoulders, but for sure a buck. So where you go behind the shoulder with an arrow to get in the chest and hemorrhage, you might go right through the shoulder or right through the front of the chest. A frontal with a rifle is no big deal. It's just a little smaller target. With an arrow, that's a low percentage shot. So we just talk about that. And, that wounding example I had, that was last year, maybe it's the year before.
Year before.
It was a year before, yeah. So Tanner was filming that. You filmed me last year.
Yep.
And that one also is like that one. It looked pretty dang good on film, but there's a lot that goes into killing a bull elk with an arrow.
Yeah.
And I started to say I wounded a bull, so quartering away and 33 yards, so it wasn't far, but I felt really good. And there was a little bit of brush, I remember, and I thought I had a good window where the arrow ticked one of the pieces of brush, and it hit 2 inches to the right. And so where quartering away would be like the animal's not really facing away, not broadside to you, but halfway in between. And so I thought, well, if I go behind the back rib, I'll get in the chest. And you want to aim when you're on a shot like that for the opposite shoulder on the far side. So I thought, well, if I get this arrow here and I hit that far side shoulder, it's going to go through everything, hit the brush, and it, instead of hitting behind the rib, it hit a little bit to the right and it hit the hip. No penetration. Arrows hit the hip like 2 or 3 inches and just did not penetrate. So what did I do? Well, you got to get on blood. And I didn't know exactly what would happen. Didn't think it was anything close to being able to get a femoral, but that's why you blood trail. That's why you track them. That's why you get on and see what you can learn. And so I tracked that bull for hours and hours. And normally a fatally wounded animal won't go uphill. They'll either side hill or downhill because they're hurt. And if it's a good shot, they'll go and then basically just death sprint, die in 50, 100 yards. This bull went up the hill. And normally that's not a fatally wounded animal. But you stay on the blood. And the blood told me it was muscle blood. The blood told me that if I would have got behind that last rib, that would have been guts and stomach. And that's, they're not going to recover from a gut shot. They're going to die eventually. And I wasn't seeing any gut fluid on the ground. There was no indication of that I got in the body cavity. It was muscle blood. And it was on the one side, so the arrow didn't go in, just like I saw it. I mean, it didn't get penetration because I hit that hip bone. And so pretty soon, and we all know how this works, the blood, you might have your hopes up because, a sharp broadhead will cause some damage. It's a laceration that's going to bleed. And so you might be confident to start, but then eventually the blood slows down to a trickle. Then it's maybe a pin drop, maybe brushing up on side of, here in Oregon, be ferns there. It might, or if you're hunting Rocky Mountain bulls, it might be some other type of brush, but pine needles, who knows what. But you're going to be looking for pin pricks of blood. Right. And then it's gone.
Talk a little bit about like the difference in blood, gut fluid, that kind of thing. Obviously it's you have to play your own detective. You have to put all these clues together.
It's like CSI a little bit. You're kind of doing it's good to learn and to do autopsies essentially on these animals to see exactly what happened when you're successful, or it'll help you figure out what happened if you're not successful.
Right.
And, so yeah, I mean, I remember that big bull right over there that I killed last year in Colorado. People saw that kill shot, and he's spooked and he's up there in the timber, and I thought I had a good shot, but I think on that one there's a tree on the left that kind of was like in my mind that I need to stay away from that tree, so I hit like a few inches to the right, which if I would have hugged that tree, I would have got the lungs, but I was a little bit to the right, so I went liver.
That one also hit something.
Yeah, it caught a little piece of moss
Yeah.
up there. And we saw that fall in the video, so you guys can go back and look that up. But on that one, I told you to stay there, and I snuck up because I wanted to see if my arrow was there and what the blood looked like. And when I got up there, is I saw his tracks kind of running down the backside of the hill, digging in deep like they do when they're getting out of there. And you can learn a lot from tracks too. I mean, when a bull runs like that, its toes are going to be splayed out. Bulls are heavier than cows, so they're really digging in. But what I saw was the blood on the ground is on the left side. That's where I hit that bull. It looked dark. It looked liver blood to me. So I came back to you and I said, I'm going to have to give him some time. It got his liver. And I didn't know for sure,
Right.
but that's what that was telling me. My experience told me that was liver blood. And on a liver shot, the bull's going to die. The problem is they can die. I mean, a liver's not usually a quick death. It can be like maybe an hour, 2 hours, but generally it's between 4 and 12. So
It's a big window.
not ideal.
Yep.
And it's not too dissimilar than guts other than it bleeds more. So if you get back in the stomach, you're going to have to give it about 12 hours. And if you don't push him, he won't be that far. But bulls get uncomfortable, or if the arrow's still in them, and they'll get up on their own and move. But you don't want to push them because a gut shot is not going to bleed.
Right.
It's there's intestine, there's fat, there's different things down there. They got thick hide. Normally, and if you're shooting like a or not a fixed blade, if you're shooting an expandable head like this, and you got to think about that stomach, if they've been eating and it's full of grass or browse or whatever it is, and this arrow hits, it's basically like if you shot a bag target with a broadhead, it goes in a little bit and you can't get that thing out.
Yeah.
That bag's, well, a stomach full of grass is not too dissimilar than a bag target.
Right.
So a broadhead might not penetrate very well. If an arrow goes in this far in the stomach and there's no exit hole to bleed, the entrance hole has an arrow in it and it's kind of plugged with fat and maybe some guts, you're not going to get blood there either. So a gut shot is not going to bleed. If you push that animal, you're probably not going to get it
Right.
because there's nothing to go off
Yeah.
of. And they are sick, so they're not running, so they're not digging in deep. Even a big bull is not going to leave you very good tracks. He's going to walk because he's hurt.
Right.
And they can walk a long way. And if he walks for a mile and you have no blood, you're not getting that thing.
No.
So on that bull, I said, let's back off. And I went and I killed a buck that night too. And while we were giving it that time. And I remember Wes told me, Wes Yoder, he's like, man, he goes, I hit one in the liver and I got on it too soon and trailed it for like 12 hours and they didn't get it. And it was, so to that point is they can survive for quite a while on a liver shot. They're going to die. They're definitely going to die. And a gut shot's going to die too. But how soon you get on it matters, or how much time you give it matters. So I said, okay, let's take care of this buck. Let's come back first light in the morning. Cause it was like at 6 at night. So we could be back in there in about 12 hours, which, as I said, they can survive for 12 hours. And we came back in there, blood trailed that bull a couple 100 yards, and he had died sometime during the night. And I got him, the meat didn't go to waste. Everything was fine. But if I would have that night got on him right after we shot, if I wouldn't have noticed that was liver blood, I doubt if we would have got him. We would have pushed him and he wasn't bleeding a ton.
No, and he didn't go far.
And he didn't go far.
Yeah.
But remember how quiet I was being?
Yeah.
And that's another thing. You got to be quiet. People get way too noisy. And if that animal's laying there, he's going to hear that and he's out of there. So I remember on that one, I was like psycho about everybody be quiet.
Yep.
Sneak out of here just like we're hunting. And then back in the morning, let's sneak in here like we're hunting. Because that bull, I don't know what that bull is alive or dead. Everything, as I've said before, everything matters. Everything. Every decision you make matters, especially when you're trying to kill with an arrow.
Right. And you have to look at it. I mean, those animals are built to survive out there.
Man, and they're good at it.
Yeah. And you're in their house, and trying to find them can be almost impossible.
Yeah, it's a huge challenge. And then what happens is when I'm glassing ridges for elk or mule deer, I can't afford to miss any movement. That's why for the past 2 seasons, I've been using 6 hour binos, and I absolutely love them. These optics change the game. The binos I've been using are the Zulu image stabilizing. That means no more shaky glass after a long hike, no more struggling to hold steady after you've humped it up a hill. With image stabilization, you lock in and pick apart the country in a way that just isn't possible with standard glass. I found more animals and saved more time because of these binos, plain and simple. And here's the kicker. Optics companies almost never offer discounts, but SIG is giving the listeners of this podcast 10% off. Just use code CAM at checkout. So if you're serious about glassing and want the same edge I've had for the past 2 seasons, head to sigSauer.com, grab a pair of Zulu binos, and use code CAM for 10% off. Sig Sauer Zulu binos. See more, hunt harder. Out in the mountains, there's no room for weak gear. When I'm packing out meat in the heat or loading up for a long-range training trip, I need a cooler that holds the line every time. That's why I use Grizzly coolers. These things are bear-proof, rugged as hell, and keep ice locked in for days, literally. I've had coolers on the trail, baking in the sun, still holding ice after hauling out elk quarters. That's performance you can count on. Whether you're running deep in the backcountry or just stacking meat for the weekend, Grizzly is built for that grind. Right now, you can get 20% off at grizzlycoolers.com with the code KEEPHAMMERING, and that's all one word. And I'm not going to spell it. Keep hammering. Again, keep hammering, one word for 20% off. Don't roll with weak gear. Go Grizzly. We put so much pressure on ourselves to be successful. To be successful, you have to shoot. An arrow has to hit the animal, right? You can't be successful if your arrow doesn't hit the animal. But where it hits the animal is a big deal. In your state of mind, the decisions you make, your technique, picking a spot, using the right pin, dialing your sight, a good release, feeling that trigger, keeping the pin there, everything matters. Everything. And people oftentimes get so worked up in that moment because they've been thinking about it so long, they don't remember any of that shit. All of a sudden they shot and they're like, what happened? Yeah. I have no idea what happened. I have no idea what pin I used, what I did. So slowing down, being in control of that moment and that adrenaline is key. But it's not easy.
Right.
It is so hard.
Yeah. And it's not to say that all the practice and the hours of work that you put in before isn't important. Everyone makes mistakes, but the more you can do, I feel the less likely it is, or the more prepared you are. Yeah. You know,
you got to do everything you can to put the odds in your favor.
Yeah.
Basically.
Control the controllables.
That's right. So that's reps, leading up to season. That's, as we talked about last time, I weigh all my arrows. My broadheads are brand new, razor sharp. Everything is perfect. And still there's no guarantees. Yeah. And as I said, I've talked about a couple where I've wounded. I didn't believe the animals were going to die. If they were going to die, I would have been done. That's my animal. That's my tag. I'm not continuing on and wounding multiple animals unless I believe it's a superficial wound and the animal's going to be fine. And you can trick yourself. You can convince yourself. You can say all the right things because maybe you're trying to convince other people. I mean, I've been in camps where, the guys come in and they're like, I don't think he's going to die. And then you're like, well, where'd you hit him? A little bit back. And then you get the arrow and it's like solid guts. And because they want to keep hunting, they said, I think he's going to be fine. It's like, no, you ran this arrow right through his fucking guts. He's going to die. He's going to die. What are you talking about? But they don't want to fail.
Right.
Being done without killing an animal is failing, essentially.
Yep.
And so they're trying to play the game a little bit by saying, you know, I've seen guys, you know, go from the arrow, yeah, he's going to be dead, is perfect, to, oh, you know what, actually, I think he's going to be okay. And it's like, so what changed?
Yeah.
Now we have the blood on the ground. Now we have the arrow. Now we know the truth, really. And so
kind of along those lines, why do you think it's taboo to talk about wounding?
People don't want to talk about their failures.
Yeah.
And wounding that hurts. That it's, nobody wants to, you know, again, I've been in camps, and when somebody wounds, everyone knows. And that does not feel good. Right. I mean, that does not feel, you know, it's either Cam killed, Cam wounded. Two big differences.
Yeah, right.
One, man, all that hard work paid off. The other one, you let everybody down. You let your family down. You let yourself down. Your hopes and dreams are shattered. You let the camp down if you're in a camp. If you're public land, you're out there dealing with it yourself and just like, you know, wondering, questioning, do I have what it takes to do this? Or am I not built for this?
Right.
So big difference.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's this much different. A shoulder blade or a double long could be this much difference.
Right. How do you think, I mean, talking about it helps?
I just want people to know that this happens. This is real. I would like people to adopt maybe the same mindset I have, where my tag's good for one animal. If I release an arrow and I believe the animal's going to die, that's it.
Right.
It's bow hunting and mistakes happen. Animals survive from poor shots all the time. So if that's the direction that it looks like your shot went, and maybe that's going to be the result, then okay. If it's a superficial wound, a muscle wound, these animals, they survive much worse than that all the time. They got big tines. You find them stuck in their necks all the time. I shot a dead bull. I didn't know. I thought he was bedded down, and I got snuck into 20 yards and shot him, and he didn't move. And I go up there, he's dead. A bull killed him. There's a tine right in his neck. So they die from that. But oftentimes, like the bull, let's see, what bull was it? It was a bull I killed in Colorado this year. Had big jab wounds and bruises and bloodshot on his ass from another bull.
Right.
Oh, it's brutal out there. These are tough. And so we should be able to talk about it, but nobody wants to, because it's admitting we weren't perfect.
Right.
And as we know on social media, especially, everyone's perfect.
Yeah. I kind of think too, you know, the more people talk about it, possibly the more or the less shame people will feel, and maybe they will try and recover that animal. It's like, instead of making excuses as to why it's going to live, it's like, no, we got to go back out in the morning and look. And if they aren't so embarrassed by it, maybe they'll tell the truth of what actually happened. Mm-hmm. You know, I think some people, like we talk about, try and skew the truth in both ways, you know?
Some of it is intentional. Some of it is just subconscious.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't want to fail. So you like, and I've done this before too, or I mean, I haven't, but I remember you can change what happened to what you wanted to have happened. Yeah. And I remember Tanner shot this buck. He was a kid, super young kid. And I think it would have been his first bow kill, but this giant buck came in and he shot and he hit it in the neck. And the arrow just kind of went through the meat. And I'm like, I go, how'd that shot feel? I was filming. And he's like, I smoked him, Dad, right behind the shoulder. And I'm like, why am I thinking that it hit it in the neck? And I said, I was filming, so it's hard to see through that camera, but I think you hit in the neck. He's like, no, Dad, why are you saying that? It was perfect. I'm like, okay, well, let's just look at the film. We did, right through the neck. That buck was on camera with a hole in his neck. Like, I don't know when it was, but on a different camera, and he survived. And the whole point to that was Tanner knew what he wanted to see, and he changed what happened to that. That's not what happened. So people can convince themselves that it was a perfect shot, but when you get up there, that blood will tell you, the arrow will tell you. You'll figure it out if you're good. Now, I have recovered a lot of animals on long, hard blood trails. So I'm not saying that if the animal's not 50 or 100 yards, that he's going to survive. Because I've had to shoot animals again and got them killed. I've been on, like in 1994, I remember the bucks in my garage over there. I have it, shoulder mount, but he was a nice big 4-point. I hit him like high shoulder out of a tree stand. I don't even know how the hell I hit there. And back then I used, fixed blade heads. It's all we could use here in Oregon because expandables were illegal up until like a handful of years ago. And I was like, there's no blood. And I'm like, I cannot believe I fucked up this shot, like late season blacktail out of a tree stand. And, a 20-yard shot, maybe even less. But I remember it was in the pines, not a lot of brush. And basically I was like, I'm going to walk until I can't walk anymore and try to figure out what happened, where this buck is. And somehow I was like in this wide open field, and on a piece of grass, brown grass, I saw a little streak of blood. And I'm like looking at it going, is this blood? And there's a trick where you can, Cord Wilkins did this this year on his bull, but middle of the day, he had his flashlight on like this, like looking like under the trees, like on the pine needles, looking for blood. And so that, in that case right there, like where I saw that blood, like a little, like you could use your phone now and kind of, sometimes blood will kind of reflect and shine. But anyway, at that time I didn't have a phone to do that. And I was like looking at that grass. I'm like, is this fucking blood? And so then I'm like looking through the grass and I'm like, well, the grass looks like it's kind of bent and broken like this way right here. And you can look, there's signs. There's either, animals, well, I'll talk about elk mostly, but this was a deer, obviously. But animals don't kick things with their hooves usually. Like they're not kicking rocks and kicking sticks. So if you see a rock out of place or a stick that has been, maybe was in the mud a little bit but moved, that's usually not normal. So hunters do that all the time. But
Right.
if there's no hunters in there, something went through there. And if an animal normally, like a bull, won't be kicking that stuff, it might when it's wounded.
Right.
And I look for all these little things kind of out of place. Like, is there something out of place? Well, I remember on that, this was 30 years ago or whatever, but that grass looked out of place to me, or something bent over. And then I would like look and I'm like, did a hoof like step here? So anyway, I was on that line. I had that, what I thought was blood on that piece of grass. And I went 100 yards up. Buck was laying there under a pine tree dead. And it was, at that time, it was my best blacktail.
Oh, damn.
And so there's been blood trails that aren't perfect, that just take, you got to, just like life, you got to grind some shit out sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's going to be on your hands and knees with a flashlight, middle of the day, looking for any drop, a pinprick. If you haven't had blood for 50 yards, it could be any direction, right? But when you get that pinprick, you know that it's from that last blood to this blood. That's his line. Normally animals, once you get that line, they're going to kind of stay on that line.
Right.
So a pinprick can give you the line, and you need a line. And like with the Onyx now, you can put your waypoints in there, put the mark on there, and then you can really have a visual for like, okay, I think I know where this buck or bull's going. He's on this either, sometimes it's like they'll get on a level of elevation, they'll kind of stick with it.
Yep.
Normally they're not going up or down crazy. They'll path of least resistance if they're hurt, and they'll just kind of, they want to get away from where they got hurt, first of all. And if they have strength, they'll get as far away as they can until they get sick. But a lot of times there's going to be, a bull for sure is going to leave signs of where he went.
Right.
If you're around a lot of elk, and there's a lot of elk in that country, then those tracks are going to be, it's going to be tough to tell what tracks what. But if I'm hunting a big bull, I can tell a bull track just because bulls generally, their hooves aren't as sharp. They're a little heavier. So when they walk, their hooves are hitting stuff and getting worn down, either rocks or whatever. A cow, smaller animal, the track is going to be sharper. So if you have a big like bull track that's a dull because it's kind of been beat down, the front of his hoof's been, hitting stuff and kind of getting worn down, you can identify. I followed a bull track for a long time with no blood. One time, I remember it, one of the first times I ever went to that Utah hunt that I've done now for, 15 years. But I followed this bull for about 7 miles through 3 different drainages. And on that one, I had hit, it was like 60 yards, and I hit, arrow kind of went in, and I hit a little low. And it didn't get in his chest, but it cut or didn't get his heart. But it got in and it cut a bunch of stuff right here. So what happened is that bull did not want to step hard on his left leg because it kind of hit the back shoulder of that left leg. I could tell, I could see his hoof print on the right was good. And then this left one was light. I'm like, that's him. He did not want to step on that. So I'm like following in the mud through all these lost cameraman quits that I can't keep up. I'm like, whatever, go back. I don't care. Cause this is a long trail. And, I remember, one of the land boys, they were up glassing way on top of the ridge, and they called on the radio, and this is it was like 7 miles, like I said, but it a long way. And they're like, on the radio, Cam, I got him. He's bedded down. And I snuck in there and shot him. But that never would have happened if I hadn't stayed on those tracks for hours.
Do you remember how far you were from him when they finally radioed in? Or?
Probably, let's see. Yeah. I was probably half mile.
Headed in the right direction?
Headed in the right direction. Yeah. But there was no blood.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But he was hurt because this was the next day, and I got in there, got him killed. And, sometimes it takes everything. It takes, and also a little luck. And also, yes, we want to make perfect shots. And I'm giving some examples of marginal shots because that's what we're talking about that still resulted in the animal dying or, like I said, a superficial wound. I've had a lot of perfect shots also. Yeah. So I don't think that every kill is like some disaster waiting to happen. But that was one of the longest blood trails I've been on. And I think it was Tyson who saw him. But got him killed. Point is, sometimes just like with hunting, you got to dig deep. You got to outwork everyone, and it might pay off. Yeah,
I think the other thing with that story too is you've kept following because you could. And so it's not like, there's no blood or whatever, I'm just going to give up. It's like,
I think a lot of people would have said that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people would have said, must have just grazed him. He's not bleeding. He's went so far. He'll be okay. And you can convince yourself of a lot of shit.
Right.
And they might have believed that. And they might have pulled out and not stayed on that bull and not got that bull. And that was a big 6x6. And I got him. So yeah, it's hard to know when to quit and when to stay on it. If you have blood, you never pull off. If you have tracks and barely any blood, I never pull off. I'm staying on the tracks.
Yeah.
For as long as I can.
Right.
Because you never know. And I'm ready. I got an arrow knocked. I'm hunting all the time. I'm always ready. And I think a lot of people get down and they start dragging their feet. They start like, I screwed up. And then all of a sudden they jump that animal and they weren't ready. And that could have been, they could have got another arrow in it. So yeah, it's, there's a lot. There's a lot to cover. Just in general so let me talk about shots. I don't like frontal. I don't like ass Texas heart shots. I like broadside and quartering away. I like high percentage. And still, it's challenging. But if you take high percentage shots, obviously that high percentage means something. What does that mean? A greater chance of success, right? That's what we talk about when we say high percentage. So broadside, leg forward if possible, because a leg back, that shoulder blade on a bull elk could cover up a lot of the lungs. That leg forward or coming in from the back rib and going up and going towards that opposite leg, that's the way to do it. So we have to be disciplined. We have to be committed. We have to be clear thinking. We have to be poised in the moment. How do you do all that? That's just experience, right? Nobody is born great, okay? That takes years and time and reps. So yeah, if you screwed up, it's okay. I mean, it's not okay, but it happens and it's part of the journey. And we're never just, shit, whatever. It's just hunting. Yeah. No, it's very serious, but you're not immune to screwing up.
Right.
And if you do it long enough, I guarantee you're going to.
Yeah. What about, you've talked about before, just kind of people that get hyper focused on the crease, or maybe they've been shooting foam target, the whole time. Mm-hmm. Talk about kind of maybe not getting so cute with your shot and being more realistic about the area, where you need to aim.
Yeah. And, I'm just gonna, I've been doing this a long time. So I'll be honest and I'll say I've been overconfident. And I remember thinking back when I was a kid, like if I had a tree and there was like a gap through the trees and I could see the animal, and I would be like, I practice shooting through trees all the time. I would be like, yeah, I can kill that animal from here. Where I could have maybe taken 3 steps to the side and had a wide open shot, but I'm like, no, I like this little,
right,
like playing horse, you know, you want to like drain the hard shot. Yeah. I had too much confidence. I'm like, I'll thread the needle right here and kill this thing. That doesn't always work. I've hit trees before doing that. I don't remember wounding an animal by being cute like that, but that's just dumb.
Right.
That's just dumb. Make the best decision for that most high percentage shot you can. I don't care how good you are.
Yep.
Take those 2 steps to the side. Get wide open. So now I'm very like on the bull that I just killed in Utah, Truett filmed it. And you saw me readjust a couple times because I'm like, no, I need this perfect. Because as I said, I've ticked brush before, and hitting brush with your arrow can really fuck it up. And you're not going to hit where you thought you were, and then that animal might suffer. So now, as again over 40 some years, now I'm like, I've made every mistake. Okay, yeah. Anything I'm talking about. Any lesson I'm saying to keep in mind, it's because I've learned it the hard way, and I've fucked up. I have wanted to quit bow hunting. It hurt so bad. It hurt so bad because when it's all you care about and you screw up, oh my God, that is the worst. So yeah, it happens. I want to talk a little bit about selection because again, as I've done this for so long, I've used about everything. And I'm going to go through like how I decide, we talked about arrows last time, but I didn't really talk about broadheads specifically. And I said earlier that in Oregon, expandables were illegal for many years. So we had to use fixed. And for a long time, these were tough to beat right here. These Blitz. And they quit making these. These are Rocky Mountain Broadheads, or Rocky Mountain, what is it, Broadhead Company? Or no, Rocky Mountain Premier Broadheads. And I bought so many of these because they were so good. I knew they were going out of business or they sold or some fucking thing. But these Blitz were incredible. And remember the blades came off on the side. So it was like as your arrow, we have these veins are at an angle. So your arrow kind of has direction. There's helical on it, and you want that arrow spinning. The faster it spins, the slower it goes. So you don't want it spinning too fast. You don't want too much helical. But these were kind of built as the blades came off the side. So in my head, the arrow would go in and then it would kind of twist and make a wound channel. And I thought that the blood trails with these were incredible. So we shot fixed blade. I shot these for a long time. These are Montecs.
Montecs, yeah.
This is a Montec, and these indestructible because they're one piece, but
G5, right? Is what those are called? Montec
Montec G5,
yeah.
But these were, I don't know, this might be as sharp as it was. So it's about as sharp as this coffee cup.
I know a guy who, this is crazy. I haven't seen anyone do this, but he would sharpen them. He would take that and he would have a little Leatherman and he would just.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, that's a good idea.
Broadhead.
That's a good idea. Here's the thing. My friend's buddy, this is how far this bow hunting thing has come. I remember 100 years ago, before I even bow hunted, I remember I knew where these bucks were up Marcola. And we were at Lane Community College, me and my buddy, and I was like, hey, I said, you got a bow? He's like, my dad does. And I go, oh, I don't know where these big bucks are. I said, you should get you got a tag, right? He's like, yeah, I got a bow tag. And he goes, me and my dad were going to go out, but I can just take his bow. And I'm like, yeah, cool. I know. Let's go try to find a buck. So that was as serious as we were. Like, oh, your dad has a bow? Grab that.
Good to go.
Then my other buddy said, his dad said it's better to shoot dull broadheads because they rip a bigger hole. I'm just telling you how far bow hunting has come. All right?
Yeah.
If you look at the pictures of Fred Bear, Chuck Adams, or whatever from back in the day, they would have 16 arrows in their quiver. They were, arrows in the quiver don't deliver. If you want to kill something, you got to get an arrow in the air.
Let them fly.
So it's so much different now where you're so precise and everything matters, but that's just the evolution of bow hunting. And that's probably why the wounding rates are, down or similar to rifle now. Maybe they were way high back. You're shooting dull broadheads because it rips a bigger hole, or you're borrowing obviously you're going to wound shit, right? So, but these were, the knock on these is they were not sharp. So then they came out with the CS. These were like the Montec CS, and these were, carbon steel. That's what it was. And they were sharper. Okay. Just as tough, a little sharper. You're like, oh, okay, that's good. So I killed a bunch of bulls with these things. Then, so now expandables. Oh, okay. Let me just talk about this. If just in general, like these heads right here, let me think. Like a Montec, that's a cutting tip, right? So that's sharp there. This iron will, that's sharp. So what that means is it starts cutting right from the get-go. Whereas a head like this, well, even like this one, this doesn't cut. This is an expandable, but this has a cone tip, and it's not technically sharp like a blade, but that has to push through before it starts to cut. That's actually a little sharper than, well, there used to be some, like, say, Thunderhead 125s had that chisel tip, and they're not sharp. So it has, that chisel tip has to push in, which is taking some penetration, taking some energy, and then it gets to the blades, right? If you have a cutting tip, now that's cutting from the get-go. So as soon as that hits hide, it's cutting. The drawback with something like this is a 2-blade head with a couple little bleeders. This is iron will. It's a great head. It's indestructible, sharp as hell. 2 blades. What does that mean? That means you're only getting a slice, essentially. Where this, I think the best, I know there's men who use this and they pull a lot of weight and shoot a heavy arrow and it's fine. I want more blood than this is going to result in.
Right.
Because you got a slice instead of, this is what I use now. This is a big carnivore with 2.75 inches of cut. It's going to cause a huge wound channel, a hole much bigger than this. So why would you use this? Well, because to kill with an arrow, you have to get into the vitals. If you shoot light poundage, you're younger, maybe you're not as strong, maybe you're a woman, maybe whatever, and you can't shoot 80, 90 pounds, and you don't shoot a heavy arrow because you have a 25-inch draw because you're maybe a woman or a young bow hunter, and your arrow weighs 400 grains, which isn't that heavy, right. You're going to need something that helps penetrate so it gets in that chest. A broadhead like this that only has 2 blades and is only cutting a slice and starts cutting from the get-go with the cutting tip is going to penetrate. It's going to penetrate better because this has to push in and open up all these blades. But if you have the power to do that, which, you know, 90-pound bow, this is a 400 and I think it's 84 or 81 grain arrow. At that, you know, at that energy that I shoot, that's going to push in. And you look at this, has blood all the way up to this killed something. I don't, but I mean, it's got blood all the way up here. Yep. So I got penetration on that and I cut a huge hole. That's high poundage. That's a heavy arrow. If you don't have that, this is the way to go. This iron will is going to penetrate if you hit it. I mean, if you hit it in the shoulder blade, it's not going to. If you hit it, you know, there's some hard things that's not going to penetrate. But if you get ribs, in between the ribs, behind the shoulder there, even at, say, 50 pounds, this is going to get in there and can kill the bull. Yep. This has killed a lot of bulls. And there's guys who shoot heavy poundage that, for whatever reason, are concerned about penetration or like the durability of this. They're going to use this. It's not my choice, but I respect you believe in what you use. Great. Yep. That's all that matters. It took some convincing because I was like fixed blade forever. And like when I look at a fixed blade, I was like, okay, that's good 3-blade head. These were a little noisy when they flew because it's the cutouts there. So I remember you could hear that arrow flying towards the target, and I was like, that animal's hearing that arrow, and their reaction times are so fast with the speed of sound. Speed of sound is so 1,100 feet a second, whereas your bow, like I said, might be 300. So the speed of sound of the arrow getting there is 3 times that of your arrow, and the animal's going to react if they can hear that coming. That's why I shoot like the quieter, lower profile veins, and this head does not cut wind like this does. And anytime you're cutting wind, that's what's making noise. Now this head here, you're not gonna, that's as indestructible as it comes because this is very thick right here. This is gonna be harder to tune. It's just all there is to it. That's gonna be able to plane unless you're shooting like a super heavy arrow, maybe lighter poundage, or your bow is just so tuned perfect and your form is perfect. If this flies, great. It's just tougher to get to fly perfect. Yep. And there's no knock on these heads. These heads are all, I mean, I shoot all these because I like knowing how my bow performs when, I mean, a head like this is more critical. That's all there's to it. That's a lot of metal out there to get flying straight. It's going to be more critical. I like to practice with this or with these because I can see if I'm screwing up or if my bow's out of tune or whatever. I'm not going to hunt with it, but people do, and that's great. I mean, I want people to make a living in archery, and I want people to have like choices on what they select. A 4-blade. I don't know what this is. I don't think that's replaceable, but a 4-blade fixed head there. We got a 2-blade here. We got one of these little. I think that's a slick trick maybe, but that looks pretty good. It's a little small for my liking. That looks tiny. I want a big wound, especially because I'm hunting big animals. But yeah, all these will work. All these will kill. It's this, the T2. T2, this is from G5. This has killed a lot of animals too. So it's what you decide. I think like the key is what matches up your equipment and your ability and your maybe the poundage you shoot, how your bow's set up, what matches that to where you're putting the most things in your favor to be successful. Light poundage, I think an iron well head is good. Heavier poundage, I want a big wound channel. And Wayne talked me into shooting this. I was like a fixed blade guy, like I said, forever, just because they weren't legal in Oregon. And about, I don't know, 5 years ago, I think, I was going to go to Idaho to do a deer hunt. I killed, I don't know where that buck is, but it's around here somewhere. But a big wide 4-point. It might be, I think it's that buck. No, that's Colorado. Anyway, so I was going to go kill a buck, and Wayne said, you need to try these carnivores. He showed me like he'd killed some big blacktail up in the snow with like I think the Carna 3 or the 3-blade. These are Grim Reapers. And so I said, all right, I'll try it. And I shot this buck, and I hit a little bit high and a little back, shooting straight down in the wind, like at 36 yards. And I was like, I shot and I hit him like, oh God, that was not, it's a little high and back. And then the buck runs out there 80 yards and tips over. And I was like, whoa, that was different. And that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because I think if I would have hit it with this, I think I would have went quite a ways. Probably would have got it. It would have been hard.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I remember in Utah last year, the wound on the bull you shot was,
yeah.
I mean, I think you posted a picture of it. Or maybe Adam did, but yeah, it was ridiculous.
It was devastating.
Yeah.
So when you have almost 3 inches of a hole in an animal in the chest, it's not going to go far.
Yeah.
So it's I've killed like a lot of bulls with this setup right here over the years, and any failures I've had were just failures on me. It's not on the equipment. I've never, a blade's never broke off, a blade's never, not opened. They've performed. So that's just what I use. But people use, a lot of different things. And
yeah, I had a buddy who used a broadhead like that, just kind of the
which
flat.
one? This one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was so anal. He built his own arrows, but he was so anal about it. He would make sure that every arrow, the insert, when it was fully twisted down, was in line the same way every time.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's what it takes.
Yeah.
That's not what it takes, but that's okay.
It's a controllable.
It's
right?
a controllable.
Yeah.
And if you think about everything and can try to control everything, it's going to pay off.
Yep.
It's going to pay off eventually. It might be maybe 1 out of 20 years, but that 1 year, if you fail 1 year, that hurts, dude.
Yeah.
That hurts for a long time. So I like that people get so intense and like, what is it? Just invested. Yeah, invested in what they use. I love it. Everybody's passionate about this shit, and we should be, because this is life and death for the animal, and so it matters. It's a big deal. Yeah, I just what I don't like people who I guess I don't expect everybody to take it as serious as me or like your buddy that you mentioned.
Yeah.
But I think the bottom end, we can take it a little more serious. I don't want it to be like when we were growing up. It's like, hey, does your dad have a bow? To me, that's unacceptable. We were idiots.
Yeah.
And it's like, I learned, I'm talking about it. I don't want people to be like that. I'm embarrassed I was like that. But I'm not anymore. And, I haven't been for decades, but I understand that when you're just getting into it, you might not understand the nuance and how all this matters and plays in. And you might not understand how bad it fucking hurts to work your ass off and dream about something and then blow it and think that the animal's out there suffering. It's a lot of angst and pain and second guessing.
Yeah.
And it's miserable. You're on the mountain by yourself, questioning everything, your life choices. And I don't want people to do that. So I'm not saying that if you think about all this shit, you're immune to that, because you're not, because I've still been, humbled. And that's what I'm going to say. I don't care who you are. Bow hunting is going to humble your ass eventually.
Yeah.
It is so hard. And And the line of success and failure is so razor thin, you were going to be humbled and it's going to hurt. Yeah. But you can count on it. I guarantee you. And if, you have the constitution to get through it, to survive it, to learn from it, and to come out on the other side and find success, your life, you're going to be a different man.
Yeah.
You're going to be different. You're going to grow. You're going to evolve. You're going to change. And bow hunting can do that. And I just want people to take it very serious and to think about this. And we're not perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not saying every choice I've made on this gear and equipment is perfect, but I think about it a lot. And
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think people find that hopefully something they can kind of align with or relate to, talking about all of that wounding and also, controlling the controllables, giving your best, trying to find the animal, not giving up on it. And, mistakes happen, but you have to do your best.
Yeah. So, yeah. Well, that's the discussion I wanted to have. Yeah, it's probably not a popular one, or it's probably not one I've ever really heard discussed. I don't think on a podcast, but I think it's important to talk about.
Yeah.
That's that.
All right.
Okay. Keep hammering, guys.
Someone to blame, they sent their hate, it fuels my pace. I am Roy Tough, I am the change, the few endure. Feeling like Cam